one and all, I'm Alexis, aka The Soft Reader, and I'm here today to do my Spookathon Wrap Up. To be honest, I debated not even filming this video, but I figured you guys would be curious considering how gung-ho I was about Spookathon in the earlier part of the month, so I figured I should go ahead and film a video explaining why I did not do very well this Spookathon. I ended up DNFing one book and then completely reading 2 books. My plan was to finish 3 books, that's what I was aiming for, so I wasn't terribly off of that, but I could have done better if the week hadn't have been so terrible. This ended up being like the worst week of the entire year for me. I had medical issues, and then I just had terrible luck that it was like my car broke down, and it just, all of it combined it into one week was just a nightmare, a costly nightmare, and it just totally ruined like the whole Spookathon readathon for me and just reading in general. So I didn't have a good week this week, but I figured I'd go ahead and tell you guys what I read anyway. So to go ahead and start, I'll mention the book I DNF'd. I spent like 5 days trying to push myself to read this book, and it just wasn't happening. And that is Final Girls by Riley Sager. I made it to about 100 page, like 132 or something like that. And I really wasn't enjoying it. I didn't find the story or the characters very compelling. The plot honestly moved really slowly for me. I was 130 pages in and I don't really feel like anything had happened. And I wasn't really compelled by the characters. I found them really frustrating and kind of immature. So honestly, I think I'm being a little harsh on this book. I would like to give this book another try in the future, but this week it wasn't working. So following that, I decided to put that down and I picked up my next physical book, which I did complete. It was a reread for me, and that was Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. I gave this one 4 stars this time around, which is what I would have rated it the first time had I like rated books back when I read it. It's been like 10 years or so since I first read this one. And it's really good. This is just such a fun mystery, and seeing all of the clues presented and then seeing how all of the clues wrap up into the mystery of this novel is just really good. It's a fun time. This, of course, is one of Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot novels, and watching Poirot work and be a detective is just a lot of fun. And I highly recommend it, and it's got me really excited for the movie now. Even though there's some very obvious changes, I'm really excited for it. The last thing I actually finished was the audiobook I was listening to for Spookathon, and that was Bird Box by Josh Malerman. I said I wanted to listen to this week. I did. I ended up giving this one a 3, maybe 3.5 stars. It was just okay to me. I listened to this one on audiobook, which I thought was going to make the experience better because I knew it was about like a world in which people couldn't see, and so like they closed their eyes, and so I was expecting it to be very descriptive, and I was expecting to be able to listen to it like with my ears, you know, and be immersed. And I don't know if that was the problem maybe, but I just found it okay. I felt like this was an amalgamation of a bunch of stuff I'd already seen before. It reminded me a bunch of The Road by Cormac McCarthy. It also, in the way that it was told in a back and forth method, reminded me a lot of Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. And it also, plot-wise, reminded me a lot of the movie The Happening. And so I kind of couldn't help myself from just comparing it to a bunch of other stuff, which dampened my enjoyment. And I don't know, I just, like, the 2 separate parts of the story, for me, never really measured up to a climax, and so the ending for me was just a little disappointing, which is why I ended up only rating it 3 stars. I would be interested to check out other things by Josh Malerman in the future, but this one ended up just being okay for me. And I'm not totally, like, denying the fact that my enjoyment of all of these books was not brought down by just the fact that I had a terrible week. That's very possible, which is why I'm open to giving Final Girls another shot in the future. Alright guys, so those were the things I read for the Spookathon. Clearly not a knockout week for me. I hope you guys definitely had a much better week than I did. I would love to know what you guys read for the Spookathon. How was your Spookathon? Was it good? Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys get some great reads in? And I'll see you guys soon with another video. Bye!